Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
With a nasty temperament. Ice, well, his watch is working as well as...
Got your attention?
Damn! What is the biggest ick?
People like wrestling.
You can suck my fucking dick!
Pop, you never disappoint on that when you get so into it. Everybody, welcome back. It's Thursday night, and this is going to be a special show because, as most of you probably already know, Hulk Hogan has passed away, and we're here to talk about his legacy, and we have a special guest. Wow!
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
From the Spiral Dimension.
Yeah, let's talk some Huckster.
Also, I apologize. I lost my earbuds today, so I don't know where they're at, and I have to use my computer's audio. So we'll see how this goes. If you get feedback or anything, just let me know.
Seems fine at the moment, mate. Yeah.
All right. But yeah, Hulk Hogan. Wow. And DVH, I saw something you wrote earlier today. And I thought it was pretty apt. You know, I'm for whatever you want to say about the end. I don't want to talk any negativity tonight. The man just passed. He was a huge part of my childhood.
Yeah, I think that's the case for anybody in the age range of us. You know, yeah. You'd have to even his run in WWE. That last real time he was wrestling, that's a 3-decade career, and there's a lot of fans that cross over into it. He was a big deal. That stuff with Zach Gowen and the Mr. America gimmick and all that sort of thing. Even losing to Brock Lesnar, which is a wild thing, because I don't think of Brock Lesnar and Hulk Hogan in the same sort of universe. Like, they're completely different eras in my head. But it happened.
As a child, he was my favorite superhero. Before I really found superheroes outside of like the Superman movie, stuff like that, it would have been Superman, Luke Skywalker, Hulk Hogan. Those were my heroes.
I think that's a lot of people's case. And the fascinating thing, I think, from my perspective, being an Englishman as opposed to an American, I sort of could understand how the fan base in America could be, we love Hulk Hogan. He's, the Star-Spangled Banner waving good guy, all American. And yet over here, just as popular. Like it was like kids everywhere love that man. Like, and it's a really important thing to remember. And like putting aside the stuff that was controversial about him, which is important and should also be remembered, but we're not here to talk about it, is that he touched a lot of kids' hearts growing up, and it's what made wrestling. Honestly, like that, his relationship with the fans is what made wrestling into the juggernaut that it is now. And he did it again in WCW. We can't forget that as well. That heel turn made a whole nother generation of fans, and it was just as important as the first go around he did it. A little cameo, maybe.
Definitely modern pop culture. His significance to wrestling isn't like it surpasses everyone. He was the superstar of the modern era, the post, territories wrestling. He was a worldwide wrestling star, and I don't think anybody will ever compare to that level that he attained.
I'd be absolutely shocked. I mean, the only one you can make an argument for is The Rock, but that's not really because he was a wrestler. You see what I mean? Hogan is famous because he was that wrestler. The Rock is famous because he's in huge movies and was a wrestler. Like, it's a bit different.
You know, growing up without a dad and raised, you know, primarily but surrounded by women, Hulk Hogan was like my male role model as a kid too. Like he represented this like father figure to me. He was my hero. Yeah, I was a huge Hogan fan as a child, and he just represented like good versus evil, you know. So whatever came later, like that memory is always.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that as well. The stuff he did that was positive still matters. You know, it's and some of it's going to be forgotten.
Yeah,
but it is still important just as much as the negatives were.
I've told this story on here before, but actually the first time I ever tried to fight back to a bully on the playground, I tried to use the Irish whip because I did not understand that wouldn't work in a real world scenario.
Hopefully you dislocated the bully's shoulder doing it.
I did not. No, but I could not figure out for the life of me why he didn't start running in the opposite direction.
I have a slightly similar story in so much as I did the sideways drop down on the canvas, and he did trip over me and fly off. The thing is, the second time I did it, he didn't trip over me and he got on me. So it didn't work out so well. Wrestling moves, I don't always work.
Children learning to fight through wrestling is probably not the best defense program. D, how you doing? Haven't seen you since you went to All In.
Dude, All In was a lot of fun. No, I'm doing good, man. All things considered.
Good to hear. And yeah, I mean, not that I want to make tonight about Hogan, but I got to get a few impressions. All In, what was it like for you? Like any highlights for you for the weekend, or?
Yeah, no. So this is a Hogan night, so I'll keep it brief. My seats, and I did not know this when I got them, were literally the front row next to the entrance ramp. So I got to see every wrestler as they came down and every wrestler as they went back. A lot of, high fives and fist bumps, and I made it on TV a couple times. It was a really, really good time. Had a lot of fun, and I'm such a nerd. I love wrestling intros, so I recorded every intro from the night on my phone, and I'm working on making a video out of it. But it was a lot of fun. And Edge, who goes by his real name, Adam Copeland, came out. That was probably my favorite intro of the night.
I've heard from people that his intro live is like next level for some reason. It really gets you. I've never witnessed it myself. One day, I'm hoping.
Well, it was funny because he was coming out to rescue someone. The someone was in great peril, and he did his full intro as if he was like coming out for a normal match. So
I've done the same thing.
No, naturally. Yeah, like, oh, you're about to die, but I got to do the pose. Which was fun. But no, I had a good time. It was the one downside for it is I went with a buddy, and this is like a friend of mine from when I was turned 21, and we drank the night before like we were 21, so we did not feel good on the day of the event.
Wrestling show. Yeah, I expect that was a bit of a,
Did you see every match? Like, how long was that show beginning to end?
It started at 12:30 and it ended at 8.
Yeah.
7.5
long. It's the longest wrestling show in history.
Doesn't give you your money's worth.
I had my money's worth the night before at the bar, and then some. The shitty thing was, and waiting outside the arena for an hour before the event started, and it was in Arlington, Texas, so it was nice and chilly, or it was sweltering hot. Yeah, it was, but all of it was an experience, and I had a really good time. And
I did wonder at the time, was it hot in the building? Because
no,
they have good aircon, do they?
Yeah, no, they thankfully it was an outdoor stadium, and they decided a couple weeks in advance to shut the roof, and they did have air going, which has got to be expensive for an event that size. But I don't want to say like the temperature was comfortable in there, but it was not unbearable. The part that got difficult is every wrestler had pyro for their intro, so it got very smoky in there. And towards the end of it, like it was like the smoke was very thick.
Well, I in a future episode we'll have to go through more of the matches and everything, but
yeah.
Let's talk Hogan. D, any thoughts?
I'm a mixed bag with Hogan, and I will not bash on him at all tonight. That's not what this is about. But I'm a big fan of seeing behind the curtain, and when you see behind the curtain, it's not always great. And he's guilty of a lot of that. But there's a lot of stuff in front of the curtain that was a lot of fun. I loved the Rock and Hogan match at WrestleMania, where Hogan came in as dude. Like, you got to remember, like a week before that WrestleMania, in the story, Hogan hit the Rock's ambulance with a semi truck in an attempt to murder him. That's how much heat, the heel heat they were giving him at the time. So he was full heel going into that event, and the fans in Toronto were nuts that night, and they cheered him like he was always, yellow or red and yellow, and it changed the course of the match in the middle of the match, and I loved watching that a lot. And it was fun seeing that. I also, one of my favorite matches, and as a more cultured wrestling fan now, I realize it wasn't as special as I thought it was then. But back when he dropped the belt to Goldberg on Monday Night Nitro, back in '96 in Atlanta, Georgia, that was one of my favorite wrestling moments of all time.
Yeah, I mean, that can't be forgotten as well. That's WCW's biggest gate in the entire time. It's a remarkable show, and the crowd reaction for that match is something special. I mean, that pop when Goldberg hits the pin. Whew.
Yeah, and he the announcers were incredible. Bobby the Brain Heenan was fantastic during that match. And there was outside interference by a bunch of people, including Karl Malone, the NBA basketball player, who was in a tag team with Diamond Dallas Page at the time. And it was so much fun. The whole match was a lot of fun, and I remember that always. And dude, Hogan had the strap a lot during that time, so it was. But then I remember the finger poke of doom, which a lot of people associate that with the downfall of WCW. I don't. I saw it as a huge swerve that pissed a lot of people off. But for me, the downside came later. Like they didn't know where to go after that. Like that moment was great.
To bring that up, actually, it's an interesting one that you raised, because as as controversial as an opinion it is I actually like it as a finish. I think it's pretty good. My issue with it is that it happened on pay-per-view, because I think that's a bit out of order, because you're promising a match and you didn't do one. If they'd done it on TV, I don't think there would be half the complaints. I mean, maybe there would have been. It's still the world title after all. But I think as heels, like, it's sort of, you know, it's pretty spot on for horrible heel heat.
Well,
you know?
Before Pop goes, before you get too deep into that point later in the episode, that was actually on Nitro. The belt, the match, Goldberg lost the night before the Finger Poke of Doom on pay-per-view, and that's where Scott Hall hit him with the cattle prod.
And that I hated.
I bet Nora's got the picture. Is this the picture? It's the picture.
Oh, let's go. That's one.
Brother.
3 times he met this guy.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about him in person as well, when he's doing meet and greets and like the Make-A-Wish Foundation. But people have been talking a lot about his contribution to the Make-A-Wish. And apparently he was just wonderful with children. So, like, for all the negatives, there were positives as well. But moments that make a fan, I'm intrigued. What's everybody's favorites Hogan moments?
My first is one of the more memorable ones, and I was really young when I saw it. And I was probably a year after it came out, because I was doing the VHS tapes. King Kong Bundy. And Hogan. That was a big one.
That is early as well. I mean, I don't think you're.
Yeah, I'm old.
Yeah, but you're not that old. I mean,
I'm 46.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
What year was that? I bet I maybe saw it 2 years after it came out.
Yeah.
I know I rented it from Family Video. I begged my mom, because she was not a fan of wrestling at that point. Like, she did not want me watching it.
Are there many 80s moms that were fans?
Like, yeah, no, she wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Well, I'll say this though: moms that did become a fan of wrestling in the '80s was because of Hogan. Yeah. He became a cartoon character that would tell people to say their prayers and eat their vitamins and be a good person. And
yeah, I mean, his message was very positive, and I love that.
86. So 1986. I probably saw it in 87, which makes sense because it would have been after we moved. Because I remember watching it in the basement of that house. Yeah, I bet 1987. So I'd have been 8. And I just remember like being terrified of Bundy and like the Hogan head shake. Is there anything better than Hogan just no, you're not going to do it? Oh,
it's perfect business.
Yeah.
The head shake is magic.
Jumping up and down like.
I said this in that little post that I did in the Instagram thread, but my first exposure to wrestling at all was WrestleMania 6, and that main event made me a fan. I love that main event. Like, it's unbelievable how good. And I still think it's a great match. Like, all the stick that Warrior gets, but it's
no, that would have been my next one. And just Bundy was the first.
It's still. I still remember moments from that match like they happened yesterday. It was that clear, like a poignant moment for me. I saw it around a friend's house who had videotaped it off satellite television over here. That's what we had. Most people didn't have cable. It didn't really happen over here. Sky's the predominant brand. of satellite TV, and they taped it off TV. And I was on a sleepover. It's the one time I ever slept over there, and it was sort of life-changing, really, because the funny thing was, like, we were buying wrestling trading cards and stuff like that at school, and you'd want the Hogan and the Warrior cards, but not many people actually had the opportunity to watch it. It would always be like the odd tape in here and there, and you might rent VHS from the video store, but it wasn't as accessible as you would like, and it became in the future. But that match galvanized me, and I would seek it out actively after that point. And then it became a sort of borderline obsession later on. But yeah, wonderful stuff. But because of that, I didn't really see much of the TV. So I'm wondering about TV moments as well, because I don't have that exposure. Like WCW onwards, I watch TV, but I'm just wondering.
Saturday night main event for sure. That was something I always got to watch. D, what about you? What's your big Hogan memory match?
So this is borders on the controversial side, but it's the one that stuck with me the most was him versus Jeff Jarrett at Bash at the Beach. And there's so many different takes on what happened that night. So if you've never seen it, Hogan comes out, Jeff Jarrett lays down and lets Hogan pin him for the title. And then the head of creative at the time, which is Eric Russo, comes out and
Vince Russo.
Yeah, Vince Russo. Sorry, yeah, Vince Russo comes out and cuts a promo on him and says Hogan's a garbage, blah blah blah, and you know, he has his creative control card, and all of that was actually a work. It really was. It was all part of the script. And then where it went downhill was all the rumors and speculation about what had happened after the fact, that it made every side of that event paranoid that the other person didn't actually think it was a work. And Hogan wound up suing for breach of contract. But I remember watching that. That was like one of the first times that I was watching wrestling and they kind of said it wasn't real. And it was so interesting in the moment because Hogan came out as the face. He was red and yellow at the time, and Jeff Jarrett was a piece of shit heel at the time. But they quickly showed like oh, Jeff Jarrett is doing what the company wants. Hogan is in it for him. And it was a storyline until it wasn't a storyline, and it got very personal really quick. And it was the last time you saw Hogan in WCW.
And legitimately, I think part of what made it look like it wasn't an agreement is Hogan looked legitimately disgusted with Vince Russo.
Yeah, no.
I think part of the thing from my memory is it was all a work in so much as it was planned, but what Russo said in that promo wasn't quite what Hogan thought was going to come out of his mouth. And that's where the contention comes from, which is how he managed to sue him successfully, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think he was successful.
Yeah. It's an odd one. That WCW was interesting for me because I watched the entire run that I could of Nitro and Thunder, but we didn't get pay-per-views over here until they turned up on VHS like a year later. I mean, and I didn't track all those
you had to
down.
wait that long for him too.
Yeah, it was really inconsistent. So I just sort of didn't watch the pay-per-views other than the odd one here and there. So it was always the recaps on Nitro that got me through it. It's an interesting one.
Without going with the easy, Andre versus Hogan 1 IT has to be WrestleMania 5, but his legend grew even more when Hogan turned heel to join the NWO.
That was an early pay-per-view for me. I was at a friend's house. God, that was such a big night. NWO Hogan. It was like the renaissance of Hogan. Because by that point, I didn't care about the red and yellow anymore. He was just kind of like, all right, Dad's getting a little long in the tooth. Like, it wasn't fun anymore. I had other wrestlers I liked more, and that was Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. And then when they all got together, I was like,
yeah.
Teenage Becker was definitely there for that heel turn.
That is one of the most important moments in wrestling, I think. It's when wrestling grew up to some degree, and it never really grew up. But you know what I mean? It's like it's when it became a teenager. That rebellion, that rebellious act of Hogan turning heel that way, and the way he acts. If you watch it back, not so much the actual heel turn, but the promos afterwards, Hogan couldn't be more of a like dastardly, like twirling his mustache villain
and
in those promos. It's so funny, and the black and white of it all, it's great. It really is special TV. I loved it. I was
Bleecker
so
Street Comics says Piper's Pit with Andre. Yeah, Andre Hogan's obviously another big one. And of course, you know, I've seen a few people list today his movie career in the 80s as well.
Oh yes, Suburban Commando. That was I think I want to say like my 12th birthday party or something. We all went to the cinema to see Suburban Commando, and I still love that movie. It's amazing. This is genius. Mr. Nanny even got my mum and my dad into Hogan.
Yeah, I think I like Mr. Nanny better than Suburban Commando, honestly.
I think there's a lot of people that agree with you, I think. But I'm a Suburban Commando guy.
Suburban Commando is pretty good too, though. Thunder in Paradise, Knight Rider with a boat.
The less said about No Holds Barred, the better.
Like, Rocky 3.
Rocky 3, yeah.
Oh,
Thunder Lips.
Yeah, amazing.
God, did Hogan look at like you couldn't have made him look bigger and like putting him next to Sylvester Stallone, because it was such a mind like mess with your mind, because up to that point I would have thought they would have, if you had asked kid version of me, I'd have been like, yeah, they're probably the same size.
Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. Man, I think that did a lot for Hogan just because it made him look like, when you saw him next to other large men like Sergeant Slaughter and, you know, guys bigger than him like Andre, King Kong Bundy, like when you put him next to Sylvester Stallone, and you've been trained to see Sylvester Stallone as an apex predator, as a tippy top man, and he just towers.
Yeah.
In every way.
I believe they did put him on an Apple box for those close-up shots where so he is physically on a box in those shots where they're both together. Yeah. I've seen behind-the-scenes footage of it, and they sort of purposefully made him even bigger than how big he is.
Okay.
In that movie. My mind's just gone. It was something about Hogan and Rocky. Never mind. I'll come back to it. I'll remember.
One of my other favorite moments is I remember when he officially dropped the Hollywood act in WCW, and he came out in the red and yellow again on Nitro. He was in a 6-man tag, and his partners were Goldberg and Sting. And Hogan came out last, and all of a sudden his old WCW music started playing, which is a rip-off of his WWE intro. But
American Made, yeah. It's
American Made.
Tune.
But yeah, it was like, and I kind of thought it was coming. And when it happened, you're just like, oh, that's pretty cool. And it was a fun moment.
Yeah,
that era sort of gets forgotten about, doesn't it? Like, people don't really talk about that face turn.
You want a fun fact about that music? Sung by the same guy, Rick Derringer.
Okay.
They both just much older. So he sounded, he was much younger when Real American, but yeah, I always thought it was someone different, but nope, it was Rick Derringer. But sorry, I'm late. I just got back from watching Fantastic Four, and I'm not saying anything about it. So go see it.
Did you enjoy yourself at least?
Yeah, tell us if you liked it.
I enjoyed myself. No, I did like it. I'm not a ultra hard person to please, but I liked it a lot. I also like Superman, so, and I know that's kind of a split crowd on that one too. Some people like no, some people like yeah, but I like them both. So,
and Chris, I gotta say, every week I see you, you're looking thinner, man.
I'm trying. Well, you gave me that challenge to be able to escape out gravitational pulls, so
yeah. Now you'll just enter mine, and you'll be orbiting around me.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's no moon. It's Beckerman.
Who the fuck didn't like Superman?
A lot of people, actually. A lot of people weren't too thrilled with Superman. Some people. I've heard some strong opinions about it. I did not like this at all. So some of them like, yeah, it was kind of corny. To, just the regular people being like, yeah, it was fun. Like it was a very I thought it was cool. Like I had my ups and downs about it, but when people were discussing it yesterday on 3 Men in the Basement, I think the best CGC comic grade to give to Superman as far as how I felt and it was CGC 8.5 CGC. Not a bad grade.
No.
Very solid,
Very fine plus.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, solid grade. Not the greatest, not the worst.
Let's get back to wrestling. Enough of this movie talk. Chris, Hogan, matches, thoughts. We're staying positive. We're not going to enter any negative.
No, yeah. I mean, so let me start with this. I mean, it's just been like this last week or so, because it started over the weekend with first Malcolm Jamal Warner, then Ozzy, now Hogan. It's just like, I mean, that's a very big chunk of. I mean, if you're my age or a little older, that's a big chunk of your childhood gone. All in one fell swoop, like 3 cultural icons. Obviously, Ozzy and Hogan, bigger than Malcolm Jamal Warner, but Malcolm Jamal Warner was a big deal. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's a lot all at once. And I'll say, for Hogan, I mean, obviously, I grew up, was a Hogan fan. Like I was a kid of the '80s, so it's just like that definitely was the thing. I watched the cartoon. I saw, I had the action figure, the old LJN, with this. I had the weight set. I had the weight set with the little Hogan headband and stuff like that. And I would say, as far as my own personal moment with Hogan, as far as something that I actually got, something that I got to do. Like I remember I was probably about 8 or 9, and it was when he first came to when Ric Flair had come to WWF, and it was just like my father was a big wrestling fan, and he said as soon as it was announced that Hogan's fighting Ric Flair, he said, we gotta go. So we went, and and I remember standing on the train platform. It's just I was there, and then my old upstairs neighbor was there with his kids, and then all of a sudden people I knew from this after school program I went, there was about 10 people that I knew, 10 different kids that I talked to every day. They're like, we're all going to see it, we're all here. I'm like, so you knew how big of a thing it was, and I only had seen him that one time live in person. I had never seen him any other time than that. and like it was fun. It was a good thing, and no one can understate what he means to wrestling, what his legacy was to wrestling. And I'll say this much, as far as just giving an overall view. I have that book. I'm actually it's a very fun book to have the homage there. But I'll say when it comes to Hogan, remember him how you want. All right. And that's all I'm going to say on that as far as it comes down. Everybody has their own, has their own, I guess, feelings. Remember him the way you want to remember him. I think that in the end of it all, that's the best you can do. Is just remember him the way you want to, and just understand that he's a legend. No matter what anyone says, he's a legend. And that doesn't mean that you have to condemn or defend whatever it is. He's a legend. He meant a lot to wrestling. He meant a lot to a lot of people's childhoods, and he's always going to be synonymous with I mean, put it this way: a lot of the wrestlers that you watch today, and a lot of your favorite wrestlers, he was their favorite wrestler. So that's you can never escape the impact that man had on the wrestling business.
Bye.
You mentioned your one time seeing him live. We already saw Popper's photo collection. Anybody else actually get to see the man live? I never did, unfortunately. I'm a bit down about that. Always
in matches. I never got an autograph. I would see him at cons, but never got a picture with him or anything.
That's crazy.
No autographs. It was always a little. The line was either too long or the price was more than I wanted to pay. The last few times I saw him at different cons, he was in the hundreds of dollars for autographs. I want to say like the last time I was somewhere that he was at, he was around 300, 400 for an autograph, which is I'm not going to pay that, but I would see him from a distance. And I know I went to a panel of his years ago. Yeah, that was as close as I got. And then a few wrestling matches over the years.
I've never actually seen him at a show, like a convention or anything like that, or any kind of signing. Like he didn't really do a lot up this way like that. But and I unfortunately didn't get to see him during the Nitro days, because during the Nitro days he came up a lot more. But I just remember that one time seeing him live, and it was funny because I had been to the Boston Garden for wrestling a bunch of times as a kid with my father, and Hogan just was never on the schedule. But that one time was the NWA former NWA champion is gonna be here. He's gonna fight Hogan. This is the champion versus champion. Like everybody was like, we have to go, we have to see it, and it was great. We actually the one thing I remember, which was fun, is that if you've ever been live with Hogan and back when he was doing his red and yellow thing and he's doing the getting the crowd and this and that, a lot of times if you were decent, he'd give you like a thumbs up, whatever like that. But if you allowed enough, he would do the whole stand back and be like, whoa, and we got to stand back. Well, that was one thing I remember, because we were screaming. He was like, and then he gave us, and then he yelled at the other side that didn't do so hot, because there's one side that didn't do. He went like this, and then he told them to be as loud as we were. And so I remember that. That was a fun thing for me.
One of the other things I was thinking about whilst I was writing that thing on IG, and I mentioned it, was the idea that Hulk Hogan wasn't actually a good wrestler, which is a myth that is perpetuated if you are around a lot of wrestling fans for long enough. And I wanted to dispel that as much as possible, really, because he understood how to be a wrestler as well as anyone ever has. And if you really want to see him wrestle, find his New Japan back catalog. You can watch it on New Japan World. The guy would mat wrestle as well as anybody, and it's sort of a myth that I think is entrenched in a bit of sort of willful ignorance, as it were. He's as entertaining as a character as anyone, but also he could do anything that any of those other guys could do. It's just he's not as renowned for it as, say, Ric Flair is. Like,
well, that was the thing.
Good.
Like he didn't really wrestle that style because he didn't have to. I mean, and that was the whole deal. It's like, you know, he was able to be like, look, over here I'll wrestle and do it the right way, and you know, and I'll get into all these. But over here I can do some clotheslines. I can do a couple like he was able to wrestle a very relaxed style over here. But the thing too that was awesome with him is that he, you know, I heard you. I'm talking. Give me a second. The thing is that when it comes to that, you know, I know that he was able to turn the what's it called, that WrestleMania, where he was able to turn everybody, a whole stadium against The Rock in one match, just because like he had that charisma, just doing his thing. So I mean, he definitely was, you know, just a big time attraction, and you can never get past that. You can never overlook how big of an attraction he was, bigger than the business. He definitely was.
When you talk about his moves that he used, his leg drop finisher, which was one of the most protected moves of all time, when a lot of wrestling fans would be like, that's a really weak finishing move, not that devastating. But if Hogan was alive right now, you could ask him about it. Doing that finishing move over and over and over again throughout his career really took a toll on his body. He had so many problems with his hips and his back and his legs, because doing that move, a repetitive impact at his weight over and over and over again, was just devastating on his body. And it's sad that the finisher did look, you know, compared to some of the, you know, the more revered finishers in wrestling, it's not a great finishing move. If it was the finisher of any other character, it wouldn't go over. It only went over because of Hogan. But yeah, it took a definite toll on his body.
I mean, his biggest move to me was always the connection to the audience, the psychology of it. He just got it. He knew how to milk every motion, every expression, you know, from this to the we talked about it earlier, the head shake, but even just the looking around for crowd validation that he now was back on top and he was going to get that heel, and just even like just even how his whatever you would call it, villain, his rogues gallery. Villains were cycled through Hogan, not the other way around. It bucked all the trends wrestling had in all of its history up to that point. You know, it used to always be the baby face. The heel would beat him down the first few times, and then finally you'd build the baby face up to. No, you just ran villains through Hogan. And he just went through everybody, and he was unstoppable, and he represented all that was good. And
I mean, that's a testament to his drawing power, really. I mean, the fact that they sort of changed the way wrestling was done for him, because he could still, because I mean, the reason why the chase for a babyface is so important is because at the end of it you get the big payoff. And that's where the big money comes in when he finally wins the championship. But Hogan was so over that you didn't need to do that every time. You just had to send a heel in to have that match, and it would still draw like gangbusters. I remember the thing I was going to say about Rocky 3 is, I think, because if my timeline's right, he left the WWF and went to the AWA around that time of the Rocky 3, and you can see a direct drop off when he leaves and goes back to WWF. Like, it was something like somebody was talking about in a stream I was watching it. Something like they were regularly doing about 16,000 people. The AWA were with Hogan after that Rocky 3 thing, and then as soon as he left, it literally halved the houses, and it pretty much killed the territory eventually. You know, that's how big a star and how much of a drawing power Hogan had. Yeah,
I mean, the AWA is they are the ones that created Hulkamania. They just didn't market it well enough. Like McMahon marketed it to the moon. He knew what he was doing. And I mean, to me, it's kind of funny that you don't that they just didn't have the wherewithal to like lock him down to an actual contract and say, look, we can make a lot of money with this thing. Stay here. But you know, if they had done that, and to be honest, I mean, they didn't have the vision that Vince had to really take Hogan and make him that huge star. So
bring him to prime time, NBC.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, up until that point, it's like you wouldn't. I mean, people were on like you didn't have wrestlers on Saturday Night Live and all the other things. Like you know, like it was the perfect match between him and Vince as far as getting wrestling to just explode the way it did.
What's up, Pop?
I had Hogan's torn shirt for a while, and I also went to his panel. I think Hogan helped younger talent more than people think too.
Yeah. I mean, that's something he's known for. But I also think he's not, we don't talk about his philanthropic endeavors either, like enough. Von Hoot brought up earlier his Make-A-Wish, like how much effort he put into that, and he did. And also, I mean, he was nice enough to buy Richard Belzer a house in France.
Yeah.
That's the only one I'll make. That's my only comment.
Well, here's the deal. Like with that moment, though, that was not him being an asshole.
No,
that was him.
No, he didn't mean
he was playing along with a guy that was intentionally riling him up, and then
I think
it didn't go.
Doesn't get enough credit for instigating that.
He just did.
Because I've watched it, going back and watching it multiple times over the years. He really was kind of shit stirring there.
Oh, he did with everybody.
That's a funny one because I only found out about that, I don't know, like 10 years ago. It's like when YouTube became a thing, like that cropped up, but like I didn't hear any of that stuff because I wasn't reading the Observer or anything. Like it's like that's such a wild story to see, and to see that footage. Like, you can imagine if that happened today. Like,
I mean, if it happens today, people probably be thinking it's fake and everything. But like, it's just it was definitely out of the ordinary. And actually, funny thing, like bringing up that WrestleMania main event. Now that he's gone, there's the only two people that are still alive that had anything to do with that match. I'm talking about like the ring announcers, everybody down to it. It's just Bob Orton and Mr. T. Everybody else is gone. Muhammad Ali's gone, Patterson's gone, Hogan's gone, Orndorff's gone, Piper's gone.
Wow.
Billy Martin's gone, like Liberace's gone, like the whole crew of people.
Billy Martin and Liberace.
Yeah.
And to be fair, they do talk about Liberace a lot, even though I don't think anybody else seems to care that Liberace was there.
Yeah.
But,
Just not somebody who stayed relevant in pop culture the way everyone else did. At that time,
a big deal.
I didn't think like his star had already started to wane, but that always shows you how Vince viewed people, though. Vince viewed Liberace is a very relevant star. And I think also, Vince was grasping for straws at that point. The WWE has always been really good at just grabbing any celebrity and wedging them into their program.
Well, it was also it was a very New York, group of people that he tried to grab because of the fact that, I mean, outside of Ali, Billy Martin, he was a coach of the Yankees. Liberace, I think, lived in New York at that point in time, and he was doing stuff at Radio City Music Hall. So it was like he just got all the people that New York City loved at that moment. Tried to, Cyndi Lauper from
New York City. Vince loved New York City.
Yeah. So he basically brought the stars that he knew that could make a big draw there.
Was Hogan putting Belzer in the sleeper hold that knocked him out and got him all jacked up?
Yeah,
I'll tell you. I had a girlfriend that I dated very briefly back when I was like 17, 18, and we're at her house, and she put me like out of like she loved wrestling, and she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put you in a sleeper hold," and I was like, "Okay," and she put me in it, and the last thing I remember from that was saying, "I don't feel good," and then the next thing I remember was waking up on the floor, and I was like convulsing a little bit.
If you don't know what you're doing, that's really dangerous.
I know,
really dangerous.
And I'm convulsing, and like everyone is laughing at me, and like it took me like a minute, after waking up from that, to and I was only out for like 30 seconds, but it took me a minute from waking up to like realize what had happened, and dude, like just like him, I'm a much bigger guy than she was, but she had the blood choke on me. It was over with. And
essentially what you're saying is you're the reason we got all those "don't try this at home" segments in Raws.
my brain damage was limited from the event. It never made it to the media, but it told me like, dude, like you have to do that stuff really carefully.
Oh yes,
because when she did it, she didn't cut off my oxygen. It was a blood supply, and it was so quick. And when I went unconscious, she didn't have the strength to hold me up, so I just like fell down like a sack of potatoes.
Thank God she didn't have the strength to hold you up, because that you could not be here. Like that's really serious.
A friend of mine had a similar thing. Yep.
You got choked out, D.
I mean, that's what happened.
I'll say this though.
That's an accurate statement of
but
what
he volunteered for it. It sounds like.
I wanted to see it. Like she said, it was tough, and I was like, all right, let's go. And I didn't tap out. I just got disqualified.
Maybe you should have, though. Like, honestly, hearing stuff like that now at my age, like as a kid, as a 20-year-old, I'd have been like, oh, wow, did you see that? But now it's just like, oh, so dangerous.
Yeah, no, a friend of mine had a similar thing. So we had a friend that went to the Marines, and he had learned a blood choke. Now, he didn't say it wasn't the sleeper necessarily, but he had learned a blood choke. And so my friend Mark had no idea, like, what that was supposed to mean. And so he got put in it, and he didn't go out. But he was on his way out, and he freaked out. Like he freaked out bad, and he fell on the ground, and then he really freaked out because he couldn't stand up. Like it took him about a good 2-3 minutes to be able to stand up on his own, and he was so scared. So then when my friend tried to do it to him again, he flipped him over. Like we were in a restaurant, and like he came up behind him, and he just flipped him over, like snap man him onto the ground in the middle of the restaurant. And my friend Wesley tried to like shake his hand. He smacked his hand away. He was so angry because like as to what happened. It's just like, just like he's describing, like you have no control of yourself, and you're really out of it for a while. So it's no fun. Like don't get blood choked.
Yeah, no. When she tried to put me back in it a second time, I hit her with a tombstone pile driver, and no.
I don't blame you.
You kids didn't make it work.
No. Here's the deal. She was a good girl, a good lady. She didn't mean to make me pass out. Like that was her inexperience with what she was doing, and me not understanding what she was about to do to me.
Well, I think that's part of the lesson that you're telling us is like both of you didn't really know what you were doing, and it combined to make a really dangerous situation that was very lucky.
And here's the deal: I know this for a very good fact. Okay, if we were fighting each other and she found her way into that sleeper hold, I could have snap mirrored her off of me. I could have done something to break the hold, but I was letting her do the hold on me without trying to hurt my girlfriend.
Well, of course,
So,
but that's the nature of wrestling, isn't it? You play
Yeah.
fighting effectively.
yeah.
But if you don't know what you're doing and you do something like that, it's no longer play fighting. It's, you know, a serious accident. That's
The real question is, have you seen her since then, and do you just laugh about that now? If you do
No,
see each other.
we didn't date very long after that, but it wasn't. We just lived too far away, and neither of us had cars, so it was a difficult relationship to maintain. But there was no anger about that. Like,
Oh no, no.
I did hit my head when I landed, but that's because I went from like standing upright to like being just full on dead weight. And
I mean that's the Belzer situation, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
the main thing was he hit his head so hard because he had no brake fall, just
Well,
smashed
and-
his head on a solid floor.
And Hogan's move was not fully a sleeper hold. It was different. And it was,
I also kind of believe that maybe some other aspects of Richard Belzer might have played into how that went down.
I mean, it's a front grovet, isn't it? Is what is the move that Hogan actually did on him, and
Like he had him like that, and then just bloop. I mean, and he didn't even, and Hogan didn't even let him go. He just like slipped out.
Yeah,
Like, and that's the thing that a lot of people. Oh, he just let him go. Like, no, he didn't. Like he basically had him, and then this dude's head just slips right out. I don't even think Hogan knew he had him out like the way he was, and then you know.
Yeah.
And again,
See
Mr.
commentary.
T encouraging him the entire time.
well, and
So-
I loved Belzer when he did wake up. He woke up with like a passion. He's like, let's take a commercial break. And then like you could tell he was all loopy as hell though.
Oh, yeah,
like
he was done. And if you look closely, it's hard to tell in the video because it's old. But if you look on his collar, you can see all the blood in the back of his head, like coming down. Like his collar was all red. But yeah, no, Richard Belzer.
We're
In
getting
the
a pretty
business, we
big
like to call
storm
that
right now.
color.
If I
He had
lose power,
color.
just know that was it.
What'd you say, Bakerman?
We're having a pretty big storm right now.
Oh,
If I lose power, that last one sounded really close. So
you'll be fine.
Yeah, no, I think I will. I just want you guys to know if all of a sudden I just dip out, that is
Yeah.
the culprit.
Well, are you under any sort of like tornado warning, anything like that? Hopefully not.
No, I think it's just a thunderstorm going on. But anyway, yeah, man. The Richard Belzer thing was definitely another piece of it. I think that was why my mom didn't like him. Because I know mom like specifically had an issue with Hogan, and I want to say she probably read an interview or because I mean Belzer went everywhere telling that story at that time.
Yeah.
And
That was probably as big as John Stossel's thing was, for a while, where it's just like, no, like, because, I mean, he made it seem like he legitimately hurt me on purpose. And everybody who knows the John Stossel thing knows that Dr. D smacked the hell out of him on purpose because, according to Dr. D, it was on instructions to not expose the business. And like, what's wrong with you? It's an open hand slap, And, so it's just, one of those crazy story situations that, when wrestling gets real and people weren't ready for it, like that's, the unfortunate part. Don't ask people if it's not, basically, if you're not in the business, don't ask them to do anything to you because, okay, no problem at all. Like,
right? Hogan. And
yeah.
I think Vince had his back pretty well at that time. Like,
yeah,
they paid the money. And Belzer famously named his house in France Shea Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you really think about it, that probably really helped the WWF at the time. Like it's as an image perspective.
Like
if you're saying, like this guy is a tough guy, and he does that on TV, and it makes waves, it's probably worth it from their perspective in the end.
Yeah.
Whereas the Dr. D thing, I'm not sure that was so worth it. Like nobody's making money out of it afterwards.
That was more of a backstage house show type thing, where it's like, you know, he's just, you know, and of course he was a bad guy to begin with, so he's like, oh, what's wrong with you? You can't stand an open hand slap, and just smacked him as hard as he could twice. And it's just like, you know, so it's just like those are two very different extremes, but you know, just the moral of the story is don't ask. I've seen people at conventions, hey, give me a chop. Don't ask them to chop you. It's going to hurt a lot because they know what they're doing. And I've seen Sammy Guevara give people chops at Terrificon. Yeah. They ask them for them, and you just hear this, and it sounds like someone hitting a baseball bat off of your chest. I didn't
want to get into other wrestlers, but I almost, when D was telling his sleeper story, I had a friend set me up because he knew exactly what was going to happen. And I did not know when we were getting our pictures with Roddy Piper. He said, you should ask him to put you in a sleeper hold. And I was like, oh, that's a good idea for the photo. Yeah. And I asked him, and he was really, I knew as soon as he lit up, I was like, oh, I've made a mistake. And I was too nervous to say anything and back out of it at that point. But yeah, I have a photo of Roddy Piper just choking the life out of me. I mean, he didn't do it all the way, but he did it enough that I would have, if I had it to do over again, I'm definitely fixing that mistake.
It's just like, you know what? Let's just shake hands in this photo. How about that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Lucky, though.
I think that's pretty cool.
Chins.
Risky, but cool. Like you. What a story!
Yeah, I mean, like most people don't have a story like that. Oh, he's actually choking you. Okay, well, there you go.
Well, I remember I asked him after Brad said you should ask him, and like this was the look. He was signing Brad's stuff at the time, and I said it, and he like stopped writing his name. And he looked up like this. And I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm jealous of whatever these shows and conventions that you went to, that you got to see Piper and Hogan and all these other wrestling, you know, all these other wrestlers there. Because, I mean,
I met Piper at the same show, at the same Chicago con that I met Iron Sheik at.
That's crazy.
Was that C2E2?
No, it was before C2E2 was a thing. This would have been the old Wizard World Chicago when it was still owned by Wizard Magazine, and they hadn't expanded to all the national shows. They had just bought it from Chicago Con. So it would have been around 04, 03.
See, that's fun.
Am I stupid that it never even occurred to me to ask a wrestler to hit me? Like, does that make me an idiot? I don't know.
Shows how much smarter you are.
No,
because I'm thinking about it. Like, I've had ample opportunity, but never ever thought about doing it.
I've seen people ask to get chopped and immediately regret it. Like I'll know if it was Sammy. It was a Sammy Guevara, Ethan Page, and who's the girl? It was I think Dustin Rhodes is there too, and then I'm trying to think who the female was. It wasn't Thunder Rosa. It was a bunch of AEW wrestlers. I think it was Julia Hart actually, and this girl. So this guy had come up and asked. He's like, "Hey, see that's the way you do it. No one's getting hurt." But so the guy had asked like, "Oh, can you give me a chop?" And then and Julia Hart's face, she's like, "You don't want this." And then and then I remember after he smacked the absolute hell out of this guy. And Dustin's like, why'd you do that for? And he's just like, he asked me to. What do you? And it's like, oh, just and the handprint was there. It was very red. It was just like, don't you know what? You saved yourself a lot of embarrassment and pain by not asking the wrestler to hit you, because the rest of the day, the guy was like he did not enjoy his slap.
Yeah.
He's got a good story to tell.
Player cost me $100 each at a con. That still, though, great guys to meet. And Bleecker, and it would have cost you more now. Bleecker Street says, may as well ask Mike Tyson to punch you in the face. Yeah, don't do it.
No, there's no experience that I would say, Mike, please come on, Mike. Like, nope. You know what? The only punches I'll take from Mike Tyson is in Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and that's it. I will take the video game punches. I will not take real ones. I wouldn't even want to look this to me.
I like to think that
we went off the rails
I'm
here at the end,
stupid,
of course.
but not that stupid.
I do want to bring it back to Hogan briefly. Just, obviously the big thing about tonight is legacy, and, whatever may have happened post wrestling to diminish or take some tarnish, whatever you want to call it. One thing I noticed today is like every guy in our age group, if you're over the age of like 38, you posted something on social media today.
Or at least
it hit that hard.
Yeah, it's important because he mattered to a lot of people. I think that's why the issues he's had has hurt a lot of people as well, is because of how much he mattered to people.
Yeah,
and like
he was a lot of
two. You can recognize both of the things. It's okay to say, like, I condemn him for those things, but at the same time, those other things that he did were really good, and they really helped me as a person. Like, you can do both.
He definitely helped me as a kid.
Yeah.
And I'll say, like he was, I think most people's. I mean, again, if you, I was born in '82, so like the whole Hulkamania. I was coincided with WrestleMania. I was a little kid when all that starts taking place, and it's just like he's one of the first heroes that you think about it. Spider-Man, Superman, and Hogan were probably about the first three heroes I had in my life at all. Spider-Man, Superman, and Hulk Hogan were the first three heroes I ever had.
Talked about that earlier, yeah. Very similar to my list. Mine was Luke Skywalker, Superman, and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. So it's just like, I mean, it's like nothing really replaces that. Even though as you get, okay, fine, whatever. But still, it's just like, I look at it like this. Went to Disney World, right? When I was with my wife, like when we had gotten engaged, and I had never seen the statue for Bill Cosby, America's Dad, and and this is right before them allegations really hit, and he had the statue and everything. People love Cliff Huxtable, Bill Cosby, not so much. Same thing with Hogan. Like you're not gonna forget that Hulk Hogan, the character of Hulk Hogan, was a hero to millions worldwide. There's no doubting.
I do want to acknowledge also Biggie Shack, as we all know, isn't here tonight. Usually would be. He chose to not talk about this today because we all know he's the biggest Hulk Hogan fan I know.
Oh, absolutely.
And I want Biggie to know I'm thinking about him today. I thought about him as soon as I heard about it. I know Dee posted in the group chat for the show.
Everybody did. Everybody who knows Biggie, that's everyone said we should check on him, see what's going on, just because of the fact that I mean the immortal.
I don't know if I've ever met a bigger Hulk Hogan fan.
I don't think I've ever seen one, to be honest with you. I mean, outside of maybe someone who cosplayed as them, and even still, it's like, all right, you cosplay, but like Biggie, he walks the walk when it comes to Hogan. Like, he loves that man, and so it's definitely something that would affect him, would rock him. So absolutely, like Biggie, just I hope that everything's well. Just take your time with this one, just because I know that it's rougher than what most people would think. Brother
Joe wrote, back in the day, I saw Hogan at Municipal Auditorium in Kansas City at a house show. That's pretty cool, bro, Joe. And Brother Joe, I'll see you Saturday, bud. Let's go to some wrestling. But anyway, let's Pop, you good to wrap this up? If everybody wants to go around the horn, tell us where you're going to be this week. Dr. Von Who, also, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. If you're in that IG chat, that I can talk about wrestling forever. I love it. It's a passion of mine. And also, weirdly, I love comic books a lot. but I don't retain knowledge about comic books the way I retain knowledge about wrestling. So I like to exercise that. So hopefully I'll be around a little bit more now I'm available to be.
Yeah.
So I've had a little bit of a break from YouTube generally putting videos up, but I'm back now, and I'll have a video probably on Tuesday, I think. Another unboxing, and then any lives that come up, I might hop in. But the other thing is I'm starting to break trading cards on Whatnot, and my first show is on Sunday at 4 p.m. UK time. I'm not sure what that is over in the US. Please don't buy any cards if you're in the US because the shipping will be insane. But if you could come and hang out in the chat, you know, that would be lovely. The more the merrier in the chat. I'm a little bit nervous. Never done it before. I'm going to give it a shot. So yeah.
Oh, good luck, man. Good luck.
Thanks for having me.
Pop's not always the fastest at this part.
Nope.
He'll leave you hanging for a minute.
Yeah, that's fine.
Look
We
at
can
that.
do the
Gregor, personally, I'd wait to drop.
You'll see me on the network, Biggie Shack, and that might be about it. I'm been pretty busy lately.
My tiny little nipples went to France.
France, eh? So I think Sunday I'll be on Bleakers Church. Not sure what else I have going on. That's probably it for now. But we'll talk with Hogan about maybe doing a graphic content episode. He went to a convention, and I am going to be getting ready for Terrificon. That's in 2 weeks, basically, right? 2 weeks.
3.
So 3. Well, yeah, I still gotta get next week, and then because I'm just looking at it, it's like next week, and then what the 8th is the first day. So, yeah, right around 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So, but yeah, you can see me on church. Hunt is actually next Saturday. So, other than that, I know I had to do my haul for HeroesCon. I still haven't done that. So, at some point, maybe I'll do that. We'll see. But that's what I.
In line is fucking over for you. Get your ass off my screen.
Hi, everybody. Nah, I just always got that Boston Chris avatar ready. Yeah, Hucklebuck. Next Tuesday, my guest will be Biggie Shack on the Hucklebuck. Nice. So we've already filmed that episode. And I'll be on Bleakers Church Sunday, and I always pay attention to whatever Biggie Shack's doing. Come on, Pop. And Pop will be playing video games and selling comic books
and throwing things.
Oh, man, Brother Joe, he's going to meet me in the ring this Saturday? Oh.
Uh-oh. Is that a challenge?
I guess. I've been challenged to a Kansas City street fight.
Well, I thought you wanted to be the ring announcer. I didn't think that you were actually... I mean, you're going to have an announce-off? Like so you can do the best announcing?
Oh, Brother Joe's a pro.
Kansas City street fight basically means they'll be holding hands.
Damn.
Hold on.
No.